Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Friday. I hope you're all looking forward to the weekend, and maybe you'll be getting out for some training for the Dell Technologies Management Challenge, which is coming around quite quickly. I don't know how many of you are new to the event. This has been a long-standing event that we've been delivering with Run for Wales, which is the company I work for, and Dell. It's been a great event to be a part of, and it's a really exciting challenge to complete with your team, complete with your colleagues, and sort of discover a bit about yourselves out on the hills in the Brecon Beacons. So the purpose of today is just to kind of run through some of the ins and outs of the event, kind of give you an idea of what you're letting yourselves in for. And an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end as well of me. So I'm the sort of project manager. We've got a race director as well. Although he's not able to attend, we're organising a marathon event on Sunday, so lots of people are very busy. Yeah, so I'm going to sort of flick through a few slides. Hopefully it'll take about half an hour. There'll be opportunity to ask questions at the end. And then next week, we'll be sending around a sort of team briefing pack with maps and everything to all the team captains, so they can sort of disseminate that to your team. So yeah, we'll get cracking. So for those who don't know, those who haven't taken part before, the Dell Technologies Management Challenge is a multi-activity adventure race incorporating mountain biking, canoeing, trail running, walking, and a few logic puzzles and orienteering to boot. So these are a few snaps from last year, everyone looking like they were enjoying themselves. We hosted it out of Hay-on-Wye, which is the first time we've hosted it from that location, just on the outskirts of Brecon Beacon, the Brecon Beacons. Beautiful location. You can see Hay Bluff in this picture, right on the border of England and Wales, Offers Dyke. You've got River Wye running through the town, famous for its books. So it's a lovely place to come and stay for an extended period. On the right there, you can kind of see a schematic of where the event's taking place. It takes place over 2 days. The actual adventure racing part of the day. Obviously, you arrive on the Friday. On Saturday, your first day of events and activities, and then Sunday is your second day. So that's indicated in the red and the blue. This year's events will all on the first day will be taking place around Talabont on Usk and Llangorst Lake. And the second day's events will be taking place from the Race HQ, which is the Rackety Farm up in Hay-on-Wye. So first day on Saturday is actually completely satellite from the Race HQ, but there'll be activities in the evening at the HQ and Rackety Farm, and on Friday there'll be the welcome drinks and keynote speaker, which I'll run through that schedule now. This is just an aerial shot of our HQ, Rackety Farm, Hay-on-Wye, beautiful location right by the River Wye. We're going to be located in this large field at the bottom. We were contained in the woods here last year, but we're expanded in number of teams, so we're expanding our site as well, which is really exciting. So the schedule, for those who don't know, it starts on the Friday. Teams start to arrive from roughly 2 o'clock through to the evening. This schedule will be sent round to you all in your team pack, so you can study it in more detail, but I'll quickly run through it. So yeah, teams are encouraged to come from any time from 2 o'clock on the Friday. There'll be some bike fittings for anyone who's purchased a gold package on the bike hire. So that just means you basically get your bikes fitted to you a little bit more. If you just get a standard package, you'll be given the bikes at the designated height, and then you'll have to sort of fit them yourselves. There's also, this year we're moving away. I'll explain a little bit later, but we're moving away from doing a sort of a management case study. It was a bit onerous and took up a lot of people's time in the week before. So we're actually releasing a team brain teaser, which will earn you a large portion of time off, and that will be released to you on the day at 6 a.m. and you've got the sort of travel time up to Hay on Wye to start looking at that. And then into the evening, we've got the bars open from 5, which is the most important thing, obviously. Welcome drinks, event social. We've got garden games, photo opportunities. We'll do some mini skills challenges. There'll be a little fire going as well. We'll have the evening meal served. Got a lovely big wide open tent, and hopefully it'll be nice and sunny for us all. We've got an evening presentation and keynote speech we've got a keynote speech from Chris Martin this year, who is, you may have heard him, he's recently completed a walk around the whole of the UK. He was an ex-paratrooper, struggled a little bit with his mental health, and he decided to trek around the whole of the UK, all of the islands as well, and it took him, I think, 5 years in total. So we'll hear about his story, and hopefully it'll be quite an inspirational talk to get you pumped up for the next day. So Saturday, you'll get a briefing on the Friday night as well about what's happening on the next day, sort of the ins and outs of where you need to be at what time. But on Saturday, you will be transporting yourself to Llangorst Lake, which is exactly the same place as you started last year. There's a slight change this year. We're not starting from Llangorst Lake, so the teams will be arriving at Llangorst Lake, and then we'll be transporting you in a series of buses to the start line. It's only 10 minutes drive away, but we just need to do that to sort of complete the loop. So there have been some changes to the course on day one, just to keep things a bit fresh, challenge you all a bit differently. In Talabot and Usk, there'll be some teas, coffees, kit checks, safety briefing, and then all of the stages will kick off from 9 o'clock. There's a cut-off time this year at 4 o'clock. If you don't get past a certain point, which I'll show you on a map, by 4 o'clock you will be taken off the mountains, off the hills. But I'm fairly confident you'll all be able to do that. And you should all complete the day by 6 o'clock, which should give you time to get back to your accommodation, have a shower, change clothes, and then come back to Rackety Farm, our HQ in Hay on Wye, where the bar will once again be open. And there'll be what we're calling a survivor's meal at Rackety Farm. Again, drinks, there'll be some other challenges that evening. Team networking and team social, garden games, fire pit going. Some brave team went out to about 3 o'clock in the morning last year. I don't know how they managed it, but I don't even know how they found somewhere to go in Hay on Wye, but until 3. But they seem to manage it. But yeah, you can get an early night if you need to for the next day, or hang out with your teams and network with colleagues. And then Sunday, we're trying to keep Sunday as a shorter day as per last year, just to give you some travel time back to your homes. So Sunday, it's an early start again, with races starting at 9 o'clock. It's a shorter day, but no less challenging. And then from 3 o'clock, there'll be some food served, which you can take away with you, sort of a fairly casual situation. And you can grab and go if you need to get home, get flights, long way to go, or you can stick around for the presentations. Everything will be wrapped up by 4 o'clock, and hopefully you'll be able to get on your way. So there's a fair amount of detail on this page, but again, this will be clarified. This is on our website, and also it'll be in the team packs as well, the event rules. So just for clarity, teams comprise of up to 7 team members. So that's 6 competing team members on each stage. And you've got 1 adventure race substitute. This was previously known as a team enabler, but we found over recent years that the team enabler is not as useful, because there's not so much driving between stages, and there's not so much support that's needed by an enabler. So you can have up to 7 members. You can also complete the event with just 6 people. So you can just have 6 people and blast out the whole 2 days and not have any substitutes. but you might want to have a seventh member, just so that you can swap in and substitute in case someone gets injured, or you just want to give someone a rest. You can substitute in as many times you like over the course of the weekend, but you can't substitute mid stage, but you can sort of substitute at the start or end of a stage. So yeah, there's 7 sort of competing team members in total. Yeah, obviously a key part for us is make sure we're encouraging inclusion and diversity across the team. We want teams to represent your whole workforce and have a good mix of people from all backgrounds and across the whole business. Give everyone an opportunity to compete. There's, it's a challenge for everyone. It's a physical challenge, but there's also lots of opportunities for mental challenges as well. So all ages, abilities are welcome to take part. So we want to encourage that as much as possible. There's there's a couple of, there's only really one team role and responsibilities, and that's the team captain. So you should have a team captain assigned within your team, and they're just the person for an event administration purposes, sort of checks in at the start of each day and also receives the information via email in advance. So you should be able to agree that between yourselves if you haven't done that already. And I should mention as well that you should have been sent a link to register your team members by Hattie, my colleague. We just need to get you registered on our online system by the 28th of April. That just gives us a month to make sure we've got everything in place, make sure we know how many numbers we're catering for, make sure we know we've got any intolerances, food allergies, and also we ask for sort of predicted times, roughly what your running speed and your cycling speed is, so that we can make sure we set off teams at the right time. And also important things like emergency contacts in case you have an accident and we need to contact family and friends. So it's really important that you do fill that in by the 28th of April. So yeah, team transport. In terms of transport, getting to the event, we've changed over the last couple of years to make sure there's not too much transport needed in between stages. This year, the only thing that teams will need to do is get themselves to Hay-on-Wye, obviously on the Friday, and get themselves to Llangorst Lake, which is kind of 20-30 minutes away from Hay-on-Wye on the Saturday morning. On Sunday, everything happens from Hay-on-Wye, so you just need to get to the Hay-on-Wye HQ, and everything will begin and end from there. So you basically just need team transport to get yourself there, and we'll sort you out with transport in between stages if needed. And if teams need collecting from somewhere, we will sort that out for you. So yeah, everyone in the team is obviously expected to take part in the adventure race. There's also a charity fundraising element, which is an important part of the event. And the management challenge, or brain teaser as we're calling it, all team members will be expected to take part in that. So yeah, the charity fundraising. So this year's partner charity for the event is the Brain Tumor Charity. As a guide, we sort of respectfully ask that teams try and target a minimum of £1,500 for the partner charity for the team. And for the team raising the most money overall, there's prizes and recognition at the event. An amazing £27,576 was raised for the Prince's Trust in 2022, which is an amazing effort. But I think for a limited number of teams, we've got more teams this year, so we should be getting even more money raised for brain tumor charity. And then you can see there's minutes taken off your final time. The more you raise, the more money. So if you don't feel like you want to work too hard on the hills, just try and work a bit harder on raising some money, and you can that'll help you out. I just noticed that the April 26th, it should be the 28th at the bottom there. I think. So yeah, I mentioned the brain teaser challenge and logic puzzles a little bit earlier on. So yeah, the event is a test of both brain and brawn. The brain teaser is replacing the management case study, which we did in the last few years. So previously have a pack sent to you a week before, and you'd have to complete a presentation and submit that by the Saturday evening. We've tried to reduce that down a little bit, so it's more of a brain teaser. It's still a challenge to complete, and we'll release that at 6 a.m. On the day of the event. So you'll have a bit of time to look at it and think about it as a team, and we'll have laptops on site for you to complete a very simple slide presentation, which you'll need to submit to us by the Saturday evening. There's allocated time on the Friday and the Saturday to do that, and we'll explain that in a little bit more detail closer to the time, and you'll get all the information on that day, on Friday the 9th at 6 a.m. So if you're up and about, you'll receive that in your email. The team captain will receive that in their emails. And then another element which we introduced last year was the logic puzzles. You can see in this picture here are one of the teams from last year trying to crack a code to get into a box which has some prizes in. There's a number of logic puzzles that are going to be out on the hill on stage 2, and then if you complete all of those, you get 60 minutes off your stage time. So it's really worthwhile you completing those logic puzzles, and we encourage you to do that. There'll be a time penalty. There will be a time penalty applied if you go, oh, sorry, we're not going to do it, because we do encourage all the teams to give it a crack, and it's a healthy amount of time off as well. And then on the right there, I've just got a breakdown of the scoring on the brain teaser. So we're partnered up with Cardiff University Business School, and we've got an academic who's going to be grading your answers, and if you get a 90 or to 100% result on that, you could get 60 minutes off your time. So this is, again, some chunky time that you can earn off. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on the event rules. This all gets sent around to the teams, and I do encourage you to read them carefully, because it's not the simplest of events. We like to there's a number of rules you need to absorb, but once you sort of understand them, it's not too complicated. I've just highlighted some of the key ones there. So basically, there's no substitution allowed mid-stage. Teams must finish each stage as a team of 6. So if you don't finish as a team of 6, there'll be a sort of time penalty added, 10% of your stage time added per person who drops out. 4 would be the minimum number of team members who can complete a stage. This is a really important one. Teams must travel and complete the course together, with all team members being close enough to see and communicate verbally with each other. So you need to be within 20 seconds of each other over the timing mats at the finish of each stage. Event penalties will be applied for a variety of reasons, and some of the examples are below. Our race director, Steve, has a final decision on that, so we'll be keeping a beady eye on you. So some of the reasons would be substitute not making themselves known to a race marshal before substituting, failing to complete the course together, as stated above, failing to finish a stage, not having the listed event kit at the kit briefing. That's important. We've got some essential kit that you need to carry with you, and that'll be communicated in the team briefing pack. If you lose your GPS tracker or your timing chip, you'll get a time penalty. Or failing to wear your GPS tracker, you will also get a time penalty. Cycling in an area that's identified as no cycling zone. I don't think we've actually got any this year, so you should be fine. Intentionally mistreating or handling the bike or any personal protective equipment. Staying longer at transition, more than 30 minutes. Substituting a team member during a stage, and taking a shortcut on the route. So yeah, that'll all be listed in your team pack, which will get sent around next week, so you can absorb that in a bit more detail then. There's also, as stated, a number of team sort of time bonuses as well that you can get. So yeah, team kit, I mentioned, some compulsory individual equipment that you'll need. Again, this is listed in your team briefing pack. It's all those things you'd kind of expect. waterproof jacket, waterproof trousers. I mean, it's June, but you never know what's going to happen with the weather. Long sleeve base layer, thermal top, footwear with adequate grip for slippery off-road conditions. So yeah, we don't want anyone running around in flip-flops. You need sort of robust trainers or trail running shoes. Warm hat, gloves. Torch is not essential, but it will be, it's encouraged. Mobile phone, whistle. Everyone will be given a timing chip, which you will attach to your wrist, and that's issued at registration. So we've got an app basically, so friends and family at home can track you, or other teams can track you as well, see where their competition's at. So that's always fun. Water bottles, a minimum of 2, just so you've got a spare, and we're encouraging people to fill up at transition zones, and we're trying to limit plastic use as well. And then just appropriate food and snacks for the 2-day race. And there will be some, we have transition zones and feed stations. There will be Welsh cakes and sweets and energy boosting snacks available, but it's also worthwhile bringing some of your own. And as I mentioned, this will all be detailed in your team briefing pack, which will get sent around next week, so you can enjoy reading that. It's a chunky sort of 20-page. Tried to keep it small, but there's a lot in there. But yeah, you can read that on the way up. So now to the fun stuff, the adventure race, and what the stages look like. So I showed you that map earlier where all the stages are going to be. Day 1, stage 1 is a mountain bike ride. In total, it's about 20 kilometers. Not all of it's a timed stage. Some of it is off the clock. Stage 2 is a logic puzzle orienteering run/hike. Put it as a run hike, obviously, because some people decide to run it, but also, you're encouraged to hike it. It's about 14 kilometers. And then you finish the day with a canoe back at Llangorst Lake. So as you can see here, stage 3, this is where you arrive at Llangorst Lake. We'll transfer you by bus to Talbot on Usk, where you'll start your mountain bike ride. You'll make your way over to a place called Llangynnydr, and then you'll start your hike up over Mynydd Llangorst, which was incorporated in the event last year, and you'll walk back down to the lake. Day 2, back on the bike, nice stiff uphill ride to Hay Bluff. And then there's a mountain hike/run up onto the top of Hay Bluff. Beautiful scenery and surroundings. And then you'll drop back down to the mountain bikes again, pick your bikes up and cycle back down to the Rackety Farm HQ. And then there's an archery run. It's kind of a biathlon, but you'll have an archery challenge basically, where you'll be receiving time penalties if you don't hit the boards or you don't hit certain rings on the board, and your team will start. It's like a starting grid on a Formula 1 track, and you'll start further back if you keep missing the board on the archery, and then you'll complete a looped run to finish the day. And that's always really nice to have everyone cheering each other on. So just a quick point on navigation. So yeah, I mentioned the chip timing and GPS tracking. Yeah, the app, you can follow progress of the teams on the app. The GPS tracking is to make sure that we keep eyes on you and make sure you're not going completely off track, or if we need to come and send mountain rescue to come and collect you. There's marshals across the route. They're all mountain trained. We're not going particularly high this year, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But they're all, well versed in safety precautions out on the hills, and we've got mountain rescue, as I mentioned, out there as well. There'll be signage on all the cycling stages, and we're going to improve that from last year, make sure there's more out there, just because you'll be moving quite quickly and you need to kind of just follow the signs as quickly as possible. but we will be expecting you to use OS maps on the other stages. We're not going to be putting arrows out at every single turn on this course. As you can imagine, it's quite a lot of twists and turns on these courses, and it's an extra challenge for you and the team to work together to orientate your way. You'll be given the maps on email, and also we'll give you an OS map, a dedicated map to the area, so you can plot that route on the map the night before, or whatever you want to do. So yeah, do familiarize yourself with OS maps if you're not familiar with them already. So these are sort of the schematic maps which just show you the sorts of routes. You'll get sent these next week. So you'll get these in your pack, and you can sort of carry these with you and plot them onto your OS map if you want to make it a bit easier for yourselves. But this just sort of demonstrates where feed stations will be, and where bike drops and parking and things like that will be. And I put at the bottom here, day one total 36.6 kilometers and 875 meters of height gain. So that's kind of an idea of what you're letting yourselves in for. Day two, oh, I've put the same maps on. That's my error. Day two, ignore the maps. I should have changed these maps. But day two total is 28.9 kilometers, and there's 841 meters of height gain. So yeah, you're completing well over 50 kilometers over the 2 days. What I will do now is I'll just flick over to OS maps and kind of give you a bit of more of a taste of those stages. So bear with me whilst I just bring this across. Hopefully, whoops. Hopefully you can all see that. So we'll just do a bit of a quick fly through of stage one, just to give you an idea of what it's like. Starting from Taliban and Usk, you've got a really nice, well, slightly slow uphill on an old railway line. Beautiful spot at Taliban and Usk over the reservoir. And then you'll take a left in a second. It doesn't look like a big hill here, but I can assure you, having cycled up it, is a tasty hill. And we're doing a King of the Hill challenge, or team challenge. Fastest team up there gets a prize. And then this is where the fun starts. It's all off-road from here through the forest. Really quick riding. And then there's a bit of an uphill again. Once you get to the top of here, it's really fast downhill, really good mountain biking, forestry tracks, you'll kick lefts, and then there's more off-road through the trees, really entertaining ride. So we're trying to maximize your time on the bike and make sure you're getting value for money on the bikes. And then you'll come back to the start on the road, and at this point you will come back to the start, and that's the timed section complete on that stage one. And then there'll just be an off the clock section, which is 5k along the road to get you to the next stage. It's just to save on. So this will be, there's a lovely a canal along here, which we wanted you to ride along, but with it being the middle of the summer, and it's gonna be quite busy, so it's be a nice easy ride to the start of the next stage. There we go. So that's stage one. Oh, that's stage one and stage two actually on there. But day two, I've just picked out stage 5 here to kind of give you an idea of what it's like. So this is the mountain hike. When you cycled up to Hay Bluff, there's a walk/run up onto Hay Bluff. It's only about 7k. Bit of steep ascent, but then it's really flat on top, and then a quick downhill as well. So you can make some quick time on this one as well. And and then you'll cycle back down to the HQ on this day, and then do the archery and run challenge. So that is pretty much it. That is kind of a summary of the whole thing. So I'm going to flick over to the chat. If anyone's got any questions, either type it in there or feel free to just stick your hand up and I will try and get around to you. So Greg, please go ahead if you've got any question.
Yeah, hi. On the orienteering of the map,
yeah.
So actually what happens is it they just give us a GPS tracker or whatever it is, and then we just get the coordinates and off we go? How does it work?
Yeah, so last year there was one stage where it was very much like, yeah, you could choose your own route and you just need to get from point A to point B, and we gave you some OS maps, but OS coordinates. But in terms of the orienteering for this year, you've got the designated route that's sort of plotted on the maps I've shown you.
Yeah.
And
okay.
you'll be following those basically. So what my advice would be is once you get given your OS map when you arrive on the Friday, it's worth just drawing on the route onto your OS map. So it's easier to follow on a fold out OS map, or you can just keep these sort of schematic images and follow those. And there will be marshals out there making sure you are going the right way. We're not going to be completely leaving you to it. It's just we're not going to put hundreds of arrows at every corner.
Okay.
To be honest, you'll see a marshal every half mile, so you shouldn't be getting lost.
Okay, but these OS maps, I'm assuming they're available electronical as well, right? So we can fire it up on an app or something like that if need be.
Yeah, we can send you the GPXs. I'll think about that, whether I put that into the briefing doc or we send that to you a bit close to the time.
Yeah, maybe just the captains or something like that potentially.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, some people have got GPS watches and things, so you might want to load up a GPX, which might help you. But yeah, don't want to give too much advantage to people who've got fancy watches.
All right, thank you for that. Cheers.
No worries. Right, so I'll go to Annie, I think was next.
Hi, yes. Just got a few practical questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So you're just talking about food and kind of bringing food, and then there'd be the feed stations as well.
Yeah.
Just thinking about people in the team who might be thinking, oh, when am I going to have lunch and that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
Is it advisable to kind of bring lunch food along with us, or do you think will there be enough food to kind of cater for people who are kind of wanting to fill up, at the middle of the day?
Yeah, so basically the food we're encouraging you to bring is lunch. So sandwich or or apple or fruit or whatever you want, whatever you think you need, bring it with you.
Okay.
Because you're going to be eating on the go. There's not going to be an allocated lunch stop for everyone. If you want to tuck in at 10 o'clock to your sandwiches, feel free. But the feed stations are literally just energy boosts. So it's going to be crisps and sweets and Welsh cakes. So we'll overload you on sugar, but we're not going to give you a healthy sandwich.
Okay, great, thank you. And then the other thing was just kind of, it might be a silly question, sort of around toilet breaks. Are we kind of we're doing stage 1, then coming back to base?
Yeah. So on day 1, you've got so the stage 1 you can toilet break beginning and end of that, and I would predict you're going to be out there for no more than 2 hours. So there's opportunity there. From going from stage 1 through to Llangorch Lake, there's not really any opportunities. Well, when you go over to Llangunida, there's an opportunity for a toilet. But yeah, the main hike, stage 2, that's a 14k hike through the countryside, so there's not going to be any sort of toilet stops there. But when you get back to Llangorch Lake, there's toilets there as well. And then day 2, you'll have toilet opportunities at the start of the day. Out on the course most of the day you won't have toilet opportunities, but in terms of a dedicated Portaloo or anything like that. But the day is a bit shorter, so you hopefully be okay. Yeah.
Oh, so we're not going to be we're not out in the wilderness. We're sort of 8 hours.
I would say it's certainly semi-wilderness. We're not talking more like moorlands where you can't see anything for kilometers.
Okay.
There's plenty of houses you can knock on if you're really desperate and ask politely.
Great, thank you. And just the last thing I was going to ask was, so do we sort of start each day? Sorry, you might have already said this, but do we start each day at the Rackety Farm HQ, or is it sort of day one was I think it was the lake, and then day two was one of the mountains?
That's it. So day one is a satellite day, and it starts from Llangorst Lake. So the teams will all drive to Llangorst Lake. You'll leave your cars there, and then you'll return there at the end of the day. And then from there, you will go back to your accommodation, get changed, freshen up, and then come back to Rackety Farm for the evening activities. Day two will all be from the race HQ. Yeah, so you park there, and then you'll come back there as well.
Okay, that's Rackety Farm.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Sorry, one last thing. When do the packs arrive?
So we'll send them on email next week.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. That's all from me.
No problems. Sean, thanks everyone for patience.
Hi, yeah. I've got 2 questions. One of them was about the run route at the end, stage 7. Is this going to be the same route as it was last year? We just remember it being, there's one stage of that route where you're going down like a really, really slim little trail path, and we were wondering would it be the same thing again?
No, we've changed that because of the congestion. So yeah, we've just cut that bit out. We wanted to include it because it was a bit of a nice little challenge, but yeah, it was too congested. So we've just cut that little section off. So there's plenty of space.
Perfect. The other question was last year. So we understand there's like only 6 bikes per team. But our neighbour last year actually ended up running from checkpoint to checkpoint when there was difference between the bikes. So that they could also join us on the run hike. Can all 7 members still do that? The extra bits. I understand the 7 members can't do all the mountain biking, but can all 7 members do the rest of the stages?
Yeah, I think we kind of allowed that to happen. But basically only 6 of you will get sort of your time, but you'll go together. Yeah. So for example, stage 2, if someone was really keen and wanted to take part, that's fine. But yeah, it's basically 6 competing members, and then your 7th is supposed to be a substitute, but it might help on that if they on stage 2 they might want to just travel with you, and that's fine. But if they don't want to travel with you, we've also got transport, so we can take them where they need to go to the end of the day. So yeah, it's we've kind of, I guess we don't encourage it. It's supposed to be 6 teams, but if someone's super keen and doesn't want to miss out, that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Tom?
Cool. Just a few quick ones from me. So the first one around transport there, I know you briefly sort of went over it there. So last year we hired a 7-seater to get from stage to stage. This year around we don't need to do that then, is that correct?
Yeah, so last year there was a big like 30-minute drive in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be that. So what we're doing is so when you arrive at Llangorst Lake this year, we'll get you on a bus or series of buses, minibuses, and you're just transferring you 10 minutes down the road to Telemark and Ask. So we're taking away that element of you guys having to transport yourselves around. So well, however you get to Wales, that's up to you. You only need to get to the start of each day.
Yeah. Which
day 1 is Llangorst Lake, and then day 2 is the Rackety Farm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you. And then just to be clear on the enabler role, they can be swapped out at any stage, can't they? Obviously, they can't be within a stage, but it can be on any particular stage. That person could be like hot swapped.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can swap people as many times as you like through the day. Just not mid stage, because it gets confusing for us and we don't know who's out there. because we will be sort of keeping note of who's going out over the line and things like that.
Cool. And the last thing, can you just go back to the slide with the Friday schedule, just so I can grab a quick screen grab? Is that all right?
Yeah, certainly. There you go.
Cool. One sec. All right. Thanks. That's
Cool.
it from me.
And Leah?
Hi, Gareth. I just have a quick question about the enabler. So I know you kind of went over it, but I just want to confirm for the registration. So if you have 7 members on the team, you register the 6, and then do you just kind of randomly select one person to be that enabler, but they don't necessarily have to be the substitute the whole time? Kind of everyone can swap in and out. It's just to have someone's name down for it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so previously it was called an enabler, but we're trying to move away from that this year. So we're calling it an adventure race substitute. So the enabler in previous years was being there to help facilitate transport or pop up with some transport around some food and drink for the teams. And that, so the 7th person could still do that if they wanted to. They could drive their vehicle around and support. They don't have to be a competing member. They can just be a keen, enthusiastic team member who wants to come along and support.
Mm-hmm.
But we do need to get that 7th member registered on the online system on Active, so that we can account for them for their food in the evenings, and also just we have their medical emergency details as well. But yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah, just because I went to register the team the other day and it said that I obviously had to put someone down for it. But if every member kind of wants to participate as normal, that doesn't affect it, does it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, just select one person. That's fine.
Okay, just like kind of random
It
selection.
doesn't have to be a fixed person, no.
Perfect. Okay, that's it then. Thanks so much.
No problem. Cool. I think that's everyone who's asked questions. Hopefully that has given you a bit of an idea of what the weekend's going to look like. As I said, we'll send round all that information to team captains next week, and you can digest it at your leisure. And feel free to come back to Hattie or myself if you've got any questions, and we'll be happy to help. But yeah, I'll share this recording as well with everyone on the call, and so feel free to pass this on to others so they can get an idea as well. But yeah, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you all in a couple of, well, I don't even know how many weeks is it? A couple of months basically. And yeah, good luck with any training you may or may not be doing. Thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.